up, you guys? Henry Gracie, Hito and Gracie here at 511 Development Center in Irvine, California to discuss some critical defensive tactic techniques pertaining to weapon retention.
The Gracie family has been fighting for 80 plus years, and our numbers show that when fights happen and two people clinch, the fight falls to the ground. So law enforcement or not, you have to be comfortable on the ground, and that's what we specialize in.
The unfortunate truth is that far too many police officers who are killed in the line of duty are done so with their own firearm. As much as we like to keep a safe reactionary gap between us and the subject, far too many times the fight ensues and the fight goes to the ground. So we have to understand that if the fight goes to the ground, the firearm must remain under our control.
Now, these techniques and principles apply to police officers and legally armed citizens. So let's get to work.
So ideally, we're taking the suspect to the ground. We end up possibly in a position where we're trying to carry out an arrest. From this situation, the fight could easily go from, a passively resistant subject to someone who is actually trying to fight you. The challenge is that when you're in a ground fight like this, your weapons are as much accessible to them as they are to you. So if you're just mounted and you're unaware of what their hands are doing, it's possible that they try to get a hold of your firearm. So the key principle is hips and underhooks. When you want to control someone from the mount, if you're sitting too tall, he can easily push me off and off balance me. So what we want to do is get low, put the hooks in, and let our hips essentially immobilize the subject's hips with a lot of pressure. Keep our hands out for base. So if you're going to be in a ground fight and you're going to establish the mount for control, you want to come under the suspect's arm. Key detail, when you come in elbow to elbow, and you want to essentially kind of ratchet your hand up little by little till his elbows pass his height of his shoulders. From this point, if you want to go on the other side where he might be accessing the taser, we're coming all the way up, we're S-gripping our hands north of his head, placing the hands on top of the head, and now using hip pressure and hooks on his legs over here to immobilize him. Okay, and now what we've done is we've essentially kept his arm from being able to reach our weapon.
The fact that you're on the inside of my elbows, there's no way I can reach.
And with his hands out of the equation, it's gonna be very difficult for him to strike, for him to reach my weapons, or to even push me off. And I can wait here till help arrives, or verbal compliance is achieved. I can sit up and then transition into one of many different handcuffing procedures here and control the suspect that way.
Law enforcement often says, we don't want to go to the ground. But the only way you can successfully get up off the ground safely is if you know what to do when the fight falls to the ground. So to avoid panic when the fight falls on the ground, you have to know what you're doing, you have to have been there before and learn techniques that can keep you alive.